Welcome back to the show. Let's do some politics now. I've prayed diligently about the task ahead, and I believe I owe a duty to God and my country to take our great party back into government, to right the wrongs of the past, and to put an end to the cries of the people under the current dispensation. That's a quotation, and those are actually words of the former President John Mahama in a short video that went out moments after a letter of his intention to join the NDC Flagbearer Race was presented to party executives some few hours ago. We'll get to watch that full video shortly. Already, Second Deputy Speaker Albert Bagbin, former UPSA Vice Chancellor Professor Joshua Alabi, former NHIA CEO Sylvester Mensah, former Trade and Industry Minister Dr. Ekos Biogabra, and a number of others have all indicated they intend running. Let's take a look at the event at the party's headquarters this morning when former Ambassador Daniel Ohiniejakum presented John Mahama's letter of intent to them.
A short while ago, we presented a letter to the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress on behalf of our former President, John Mahama. In that letter, he officially communicated his intention to contest the flag bearership of this great party. We, those of us who constitute this delegation today, are highly honored indeed to be part of this historic event. Historic because we sincerely believe that it is one huge step in the journey of the NDC to come back to power, to salvage the sinking ship of state, as we all know.
So that is Mr. Ohiniejakum there presenting Mr. John Mahama's letter of intent to the party. Obviously, very excited group there. He was flanked by Sherry Aite, as you may know, former Minister for Aquaculture and Fisheries. Inusa Foseini there as well. Valerie Sawyer was there, and Victor Smith as well. I have in the studio Edward Bauer, and I'll be engaging him shortly on this matter. Edward, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
But let's hear the man himself giving the reasons why he wants to contest the flag bearership position.
Hello, my brothers and sisters, fellow Akatamansonians, my countrymen and women, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to confirm that I have submitted my letter to the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, confirming my decision to contest for the position of the flag bearer for the NDC when the party opens nominations later this year. In coming to this firm decision, I have pondered deeply and soberly on the socio-economic and political landscape of our country today, vis-à-vis the clear path we had started to build aimed at positioning Ghana as a true middle-income country by modernizing our dilapidated social and economic infrastructure and gradually inculcating in the Ghanaian a sense of patriotism, self-belief, and commitment to a One Ghana agenda. I've taken into consideration the groundswell of support, the never-ending calls and encouragement from a large section of our party elders, members of our party, supporters, and Ghanaians from diverse backgrounds. I have prayed diligently about the task ahead, and I believe I owe a duty to God and my country to take our great party back into government, to right the wrongs of the past, and to put an end to the cries of the people under the current dispensation. The 2020 election presents our party, the NDC, with a great opportunity to offer yet again visionary leadership driven by a commitment to create opportunities for all our people, not just a few. Our collective victory in 2020 will end the increasing hardships, expand the base of our economy, create more sustainable jobs, ensure shared prosperity for all, and pursue good governance, including peace, unity, and security. As a servant leader, I have listened with deep respect to the elders of our party, to members of our party, and Ghanaians from all walks of life. And I'm honored to avail myself for truthful, transparent, selfless, unifying, and dedicated service to the National Democratic Congress. And above all, to the good people of Ghana.
So that's a video from the camp of Mr. John Mahama, former Deputy Minister of Energy, Edward Bauer. It's a consultant, communication director, I beg your pardon. Thanks for that correction there. With the Energy Ministry, Edward Bauer is my guest in the studio. Edward Bauer, it's good to have you. You certainly believe in the John Mahama agenda.
Obviously, I believe in it, and I believe in it for a very clear reason. You know that in 2020, if we will have to win an election, it will have to be based on our past records. And the best record we can point to will be the immediate record that we've set before we left.
That is the main stance, or that is the main argument that a lot of people, those who want to contest now, have argued against. A lot of them have said that if you say track record, what is the track record?
The track record is about the massive infrastructure we put in place. The track record is about policies that were not just for today, but just for the future. The track record of making sure that every Ghanaian felt that he was a Ghanaian, irrespective of where he or she came from. A track record of fairness to Ghanaians. And the fact that if you are a very hard-working person and you decide to work really for your family and yourself, you should be given a fair chance to succeed. It is on the basis of this that John Mahama ruled, and we believe that he can continue with that.
And that's where the people who argue against this position have said that if you have that track record, why did you lose, and so miserably at that?
And of course, that is the reason why in all these things, we also do acknowledge there are a few lapses that we had. And as human as we are, we definitely wouldn't have had all rights. But that being said, looking at the current government and the performance of the government in 1 year, 9 months, or 1 year, 8 months, it is very clear that there was some decisions that were made that were not properly right. And that's why NDC is out. And I think that with the current situation and looking at what John Mahama had done in his 4 years as a president, Ghanaians really are looking forward to having him back.
The point that you've just made brings me to the point that one of the things that Mr. Mahama said in that video that we just played, he said that he believes that he owes it to God and to this country to bring the NDC back into power, to right the wrongs of the past. What are these wrongs that he admits? No,
basically, just as I indicated, there were various reasons why Ghanaians may have voted against the NDC.
May have?
Yes. You will not be able to ascertain. Basically, maybe, I don't know which party you voted for.
I mean, you have done your party, within your party, you have done your own analysis.
Yes, one of the things that we did was that, for every party, you must have a very core base that you rely on. I think that in as much as we were very eager to serve the people of Ghana, we also did not take cognizance of the fact that we needed to keep our base very active.
Okay.
We needed to ensure that our base internalized the policies that we were bringing in. Because whether you like it or not, if you are to sit in Flagstaff House and take certain decisions, it takes people at the grassroots level to really translate that into very simple concept for people to understand and internalize. This is something that we lost touch with. It is not because we did that on the basis of malice, but we never recognized that whilst we were eager to deliver what was our mandate, we lost touch with that. And John Mahama has always been the first to acknowledge that this is where we need to do. We need to go back to the basis.
But that's basically something that has to do with the party structures and your base. What wrongs would he want to correct as far as the bigger picture, the country?
You need to look at something. First and foremost, even before we move to the bigger country, just look at the fears in the 2012 election, the 2016 election. You realize substantially His Excellency the current president, did not increase much in terms of the amount, the votes that he got in 2012 as compared to 2016. So what went wrong? It meant, but meanwhile, you had a situation where President John Mahama's vote came down.
So your people decided not to vote for you?
Yeah, so there were people who just simply came out not to vote. That's one aspect. The second aspect had to also do with the fact that there were certain policies that were introducing. And these were policies that, to a very large extent, we did not sufficiently communicate very well to them. I'll give you an example. During the campaign, one of the hot issues that came up had to do with the issue of trainee allowances.
Okay.
And the fact that His Excellency the President indicated that, look, we were faced with two issues. The first issue was that, how do we open up capacity and make sure that any student who is capable of going to school should have access to the school? But in doing that, we may not necessarily be able to give you allowances as a reason for you being there. So we had that, and we had a situation of reducing the number of people who will go into these training institutions and then giving you an allowance. I'll give you a typical example. If you take the JoyNews nursing training college, I spoke with the head yesterday. You have a situation where about 800 students were interviewed for just 74 space that were given. So it gives you the quota. You are seeing that you have huge, so you will be talking about almost 700 and something students who will be disappointed, not because they do not have the qualification, not because they don't want to go,
and I don't want to get confused. Sorry, I don't really want to get confused, because I'm trying to still link this to the rights or the wrongs that John Mahama wants to right.
So the issue was that
right.
One of the challenges we had was that we did not sufficiently communicate this to the people. So people thought that the whole idea of government withdrawing, for example, training allowances, was just being malicious, was just being insensitive to the plights of people. And so these were the situations they made. And therefore, you also had a political party that was promising them that on the first 100 days of their coming into office, they were going to institute that. As I speak to you, you talk to the students and they tell you that they have huge arrears in terms of even getting these monies.
So was it that the presidency or the being in power got to your heads as persons in the running the affairs of the country that made you forget all of these things, or that made you overlook some of these things? Do you think?
It is not going into her, but we felt that we needed to be candid with the people. Look, let me tell you, when you go into an election, it's a social contract between you and the people who are going to vote for you. It is the least you should be able to offer them is integrity and truthfulness, telling them that, look, this I will be able to do, this I can't do. But of course, if you ride on the platform of deception and come into power, you'll be exposed. And you and I know that we are seeing some of these things today.
I see. Interesting. Why did it take Mr. Mahama so long to communicate this? At first it was a rumor, and then it became a back and forth, and then it became an uncertainty. Now finally he drops it there. Why did it take him so long? Indecision?
For every human life, you must have a period of retreat. You must have a period of sober reflection. It is only within that period that you will be able to take certain concrete decisions. Even, I don't know, you're a Christian. For Christians, maybe once in a year, twice in a year, you go for just a seclusive area just to be able to reflect, sober reflection of your own life, how you have been, how is it, what do you need to amend, which one do you need to encourage?
Looks like it's taken the former president 2 years.
No, yes, so he had to, look, taking a decision to lead a mass political party like the NDC is not a child's play, and you really need to be able to reflect and reflect very properly. He did that. He did a lot of consultations, both at the grassroots level and the elders. Yesterday, we were at His Excellency, the former president's place to formally tell him that he wants to contest. So he had gone through the whole rank and file. And it is on the strength of that, and it's on the encouragement that he got from all these individuals that he consulted, that today, 23rd August, he decided to write a letter to the General Secretary indicating that he will be part of this race.
When did he take this decision?
When did he took the decision today to write a letter? Or what do you mean by when he did it?
He took the decision today?
No,
that's not true.
No, when he said he took the decision, because until yesterday, he was still consulting. So if by the close of yesterday he had come to the conclusion that he did not need to be, he was not the right person to lead the people of the NDC into the 2020 elections. Obviously today the letter would have been written.
What about the Facebook post some time back when he said that he's acknowledged all the calls for him to contest and that he would not disappoint?
So basically he was still loading. Yes, so that's just all.
Interesting. What do you think are his chances? Now, of course, you're in his camp, but there are other people who want to run. Some people have said that, look, it was because of his bad track record or his bad governance that the NDC lost the election. Some have said that because of that, let's change the person, let's change whoever is leading. Others have actually said, well, people know him already, so let's go with him. But people have said that people know him, but how do they know him? They don't know him on a good footing. If it is, then let's go with him. Alban Bagwin is there. He's been speaking a lot lately. Echo Spiogabra is there. He's been actually speaking. You see him in almost all the media houses. Professor Joshua Alabi, he sends a lot of things on social media and is telling people a lot about how he's been to the grassroots and trying to get the people to endorse his candidature. Sylvester Mensah, what are his chances against all these people?
First of all, let me state very clearly here that on December 7th, by the close of the day, His Excellency John Mahama will be the candidate, the official flag bearer for the NDC going to 2020.
Well, is that decided?
I say that with all the certainty you have in me. I have gone around the country myself. I have been very active in my region. I've been very active in some other regions nearer my nearer place. And I can tell you that based on the figures we are getting, based on even the results of the branch elections and the constituency elections, we can say without the slightest of doubt.
How do you draw that linkage, that based on constituency?
Yes, because the reason is this. Remember that we are going to vote based on a college, electoral college. So it is not just every Ghanaian who gets the opportunity to vote. And we are looking at those figures to be able to make. But let me make this point. I believe that if you look at the other candidates who have also stepped up to contest, I'll tell you the truth. Any of them on any day is better than another. Any day. But unfortunately, we have such brilliant array of stars. And within them, we need to put our best foot forward. And we think that now, for the 2020 elections, former President John Mahama.
Well, that's because you went to meet John Rawlings yesterday, I believe.
Yes, President John Mahama is the best to lead us to victory in 2020.
Some have actually said that, look, you need somebody who has a clean slate, someone who is coming in without cobwebs, without ghosts from the past. John Mahama doesn't have that clean slate.
Unfortunately, everybody, look, if you want to be a chief, if you want to know where you come from, just decide to want to be a queen mother in your village. They'll tell you where you come from. Everybody has cobwebs. But that being said, I think that it is the decision of the electorate that will tell us as to whether he's the best or not. And that's why it's called democracy.
I see. In the coming few days, what should we be expecting from the John Mahama camp?
Officially, he will, in the next, between now and at least latest being 3 weeks from now, he should officially launch his campaign. But that being said, there are groups and other things who are already working. I know that by the close of the day, the 94 MPs you heard that were supporting.
We were told that it's not 94.
No,
just
so I am going to tell you that by 6 o'clock on your news, you will have the press statement with the 94 MPs.
So you're telling me here on this show today that by 6 p.m. tonight, we should expect a press statement
with the 94 MPs who endorsed John Mahama.
Starting from who? Edward Bauer, and then who?
I just tell you the 94.
Oh, well, it's 94. If you give me just
obviously my name will be there. Yes,
names.
My name will be there, definitely.
Plus, yes, Edward plus.
So don't worry. Just let's say that Edward Bauer's
name 94. Will be there. Just give me the 4. Edward Bauer.
You said I should give you which 4?
The 4. You said it's 94.
Yes.
I want the 4. So you.
Oh, of course, you see Nilante. You see Nilante
Van der Poy. Samsinahi.
You see Sam George.
You see
Okujato.
You see Yeletre.
You will see Francis Dakura.
You
see Bernice Holo. I'm telling you, there is just it's a list of 94. And we are bringing, you see, and the reason why we made that point was that, you see, there was this impression that was created that people were being tricked to sign something and that these names did not exist. People were challenging us. But we knew that we needed to be careful and wait for the man to first declare that he wants to contest. Then we can bring out that. Today, he is making it through.
So now that he's declared,
we are issuing the statement with the 94 names.
Does it include Haruna Idrisu?
What we did was that all the leadership, because they are supposed to be leaders of the minority group, it is only fair that you allow them to stay up because they must be seen as being balanced, neutral for all. So for the leadership we've taken, so you can imagine, if you have 94 minus the leadership, it tells us we almost have the whole parliament.
I see. We'll be here to monitor it and to bring you up to speed on what's been happening. But Edward, thank you so much for coming to the studio. Edward Bauer was head of communications at the Energy Ministry there. He is certainly in the camp of John Mahama. He sounds 100% emphatically sure that John Mahama will win the primaries when they finally get to decide on that. We'll be here to bring you all the information as and when we have it.